And one of the comments was, like you're going to get checked so hard because people are going to be, you're basically the main guy on the team, and if we're all over, people play against you, they're going to have guys all over you, and you won't be able to, won't be as good. And I said, that's good. That's the good part. And Dad laughed. I said, no, this is the part that is the most important part, is that you playing against you're in a really tough situation to be a good hockey player, because the reality of it is, if you don't have that grit that you had to go against, you didn't have a play with a little sandpaper, and everything was easy, then the easy path doesn't work. Sometimes it does, but typically
Rarely.
The easy path is not the way you want to take it.
Yeah.
So by playing on what we call super teams, or or a really good loaded team, what it does, it takes a little bit of the pressure off you. And sometimes you don't have a choice, and that is what it is. You got to make the best of it. But when you are in a position where you are the guy on the team and it's going to be hard every night, when you're going to be used to playing like that. It's never going to shock you when people are playing you hard.
Yep.
Which, when you get to the next level, some guys are shocked that they didn't have this time and space before. They didn't realize that I might play with someone that's maybe not as skilled as the guys I played with before, or me. And now the load's on my shoulders, and then they don't perform. So if you can get used to the scouts aren't stupid. They're going to watch a game, and they're going to play. They're going to watch the Detroit Honeybake play against the whatever small town population of 30,000. Who's going to win? On paper, right away, Honeybake's going to win. But when you play this team that, they have a lot of good players, and you got a team here that might have one or two that are good, they understand it already.
Yeah.
Now it's to compete. And if you can get one or two guys that compete every night from this lower level team, it shows, but they're more ready to go to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what that's one of my favorite things to talk about, is that like scouts are not stupid. Like people act like scouts are not paying attention to some degree. Like people would never say this to themselves. They would never say, "Oh, I think scouts are stupid," but that's how they act. They act like the scouts are dumb. So it's like at the end of the game, the scout doesn't just go to the box score and say who scored all the goals, who got all the points, and that's how they do their recruiting. That's not how it works. Like, we got a guy that's going into his draft year now, and he's or going to the draft now, and he's a really good player, and he's got a little over a point a game maybe this year on a AAA team, and it's like, okay, if you just look on paper, it's like, what is special about this guy? There's hundreds of players that play AAA hockey that have just over a point a game, but the kid grinds and he battles and he wins the little areas of the game, and the scouts notice. We sit with scouts and watch these games, and that is what they say. They notice it. They're not just looking for the kid that can score.
No.
And so by taking the easy path and going on the team where maybe you're going to play with two players on your line that are top notch, or your D partner is going to be a top notch D, it takes a lot of attention off you. Now you have a little bit more time and space. Maybe you get an extra 20 points that year because of that. And now you think, oh, like, I'm in a way better position now because of that. And it might seem like you are in the short term, but longer term, it all comes out. It all comes out in the wash after, right? You're going to go to the next level. If you're a high draft pick and you go to a poor OHL team and you're expected to be the guy that starts to turn things around, but you're not used to having that where players are all over you because you're the guy to key on, then you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
So it's always better to have a little bit of that element of, I have to battle through, because then it turns into autopilot, right?
Yeah.
It's just a quality you have. You don't care how many guys are on you. You don't care how many hits you have to take with the slashes, the hooks, all that kind of stuff. Guys face washing you at the higher levels. You can handle all that. It doesn't bother you because you've built it into the system now, coming up through minor hockey, when it's much easier to do,
Dealing with, as I'm dealing with a few kids that I trained that have somewhat moved on. Well, they've moved on, and they're struggling with that piece, right?
Yep.
They're struggling with, it's not easy anymore, and they were stars. And then what people have to understand, I'm going to go into this a little bit later on, though, but what you have to understand is, when you're playing youth hockey, minor hockey, it's good that you're good, but you're not good yet. And there's a lot of easy days. And the kids and the parents that try to protect and bubble wrap their kids from the hardships of hockey, not the hardships, just that the grind.
Yeah, the grind, man. Yeah, for sure.
And trying to make it easy, it comes out and it really, really, really hurts most, not all, but most kids in the end, because it just becomes hard. And if, like I said earlier, it's you're you don't rise to the under pressure. Under pressure, you don't rise to your expectations. You rise to the level of your training, right? And if you've never been trained to play that hard game, or been challenged like that, I got to stretch to be good here, and having guys on you and constantly checking you, or the game for us to win this game, Eric, it's on you. You're the only one on this team that can score the goal or throw the big hit that we can count on, right? You don't have to dish that aside. And then, or a coach that, well, the coach wasn't nice to him. He doesn't say hi, and he, man, like, who cares? And then eventually you get one like that. Like, if you don't have that crust on you already, then it's hard. You don't want it to be hard later. Yep. Because what I said about falling to your level of your training is that if your default mode all the time is to wait for someone else to, pull the wagon or to score, like when the real pressure's on, or when the coach is a little bit hard on you, and if that's when you kind of cower and like suck your thumb, that's your default. That's when pressure hits. Sure, that's man. Your default. You'll fall to the level of your training. And you might say, well, playing the game's not training. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's like if you've been trained to play on the best team with the best guys, make excuses. Coach needs to like me. My mom needs to wipe my ass still. All that kind of shit. Then it'll catch up to you. And when it comes real, then you're gonna default to your training. That's why, kids, parents. First of all, parents really do understand that sometimes when you watch your kid and it's like we call it a shit sandwich, but I don't even want to say that. But when there's the coach, let's just say in youth hockey, your coach is an asshole. He has kids on the team. All he cares about is his team, and he's got that adversity. Your son is maybe better, and you got that adversity to deal with. It's not just he needs to get, like, yeah, no one wants the guy there, but it's actually something that you got to muck through. And if you muck through it, you're better off for it, because guess what happens when you play at the next level? It's going to be, you're going to get a coach that actually doesn't like you, or for whatever reason picks on you. You're the whipping boy, whatever. It will happen. I'm not even saying it's not bad stuff, just reality, right? Guess what, son? You ain't playing today. Why? How come, coach? They don't tell you. You're just not. Well, hurts your feelings, right? But it's good for you because you're not the best yet, right?
For sure.
You're not the best yet. You got a long way to go, and it's a humble pie. And there might be a point where the coach says, I'm just sick of this guy for whatever reason. Coaches get fired, and coaches get fired, let's just say, or they change teams, or they move on, and you get someone that you could be in this situation that's perfect, and all of a sudden it's a situation that you couldn't think of a worse situation. What do?
Yep. Yeah.
You can't suck your thumb, man.
Yeah.
You still have to do the mission, right? You have to get the job done, your job. So
yeah, for sure.
The suck is you got to embrace the suck sometimes.
Definitely. And I think to touch, like, reeling back to the parent thing, like, if you can get them as many humble pie moments as possible before, and not in a way where you're kicking the shit out of the kid, like, that's not what we're talking about, right? But just make them have to battle a bit.
Yeah.
And obviously you're doing that in a way that's supportive all the time and whatever, and you're not being something that's more of a burden on them as a parent. You don't want to be that. But let them struggle.
Yep.
Let them struggle through what they got to struggle through, because it's just going to end up being better for them to a reasonable degree, obviously, in the long run.
I'll tell you, man, I've got 3 kids and a grandkid now. And you don't like seeing your kids hurt in any way. I'm not the softest guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see my kid hurting. But I hurt a lot. When I was a kid, had a lot of shit going on, man.
And that's life. That's
it's life. It's not poor me. It gives a shit.
Yeah.
Because whatever. I'm sick of hearing people's sob stories, so whatever. But I as a parent, you don't want to see your kids hurting because it hurts. It hurts to see your kid with a sad face and to have things, you know, the struggle, but I know at the end of the day, that's what makes them better. Period.